We are going to look at how we build up those base nucleotides for our nucleic acids, starting with the nitrogenous base because that is really what's unique about these polymers. These nitrogenous bases are named as such because they have a lot of nitrogen in them. And there are two categories which these bases belong in. We have our purines and our pyrimidines. Looking at our purines first. Purines are bicyclic, heterocyclic molecules. They have two rings that are fused together, so they're going to share one side of their ring. One way I remember a purine versus a pyrimidine, purine is the shorter of the two names, so their structure is going to be bigger, so that like opposites equal, opposites attract. Now you do not need to know how to draw these bases, but you do need to be able to recognize them. So I have some tips that I use to help identify these structures. For adenine, to the best of my ability, I start with my hydrogen or my nitrogen at the top. I'm only able to slice through one other nitrogen on one side, but it makes that peak. And so I use that apex of that nitrogen on top to show me that that's where the A is going to start. So that's how I remember adenine. Guanine is a little bit more straightforward. I start with the nitrogen in the bigger ring. I'm going to go through until I connect my nitrogens. In order to do that, I have to have a tail. So this is how I remember guanine. I connect nitrogen to nitrogen, and in order to get to that outside, I have to have that tail for guanine. That is how I remember how to identify the structures. Next, depicting some important pieces within these nitrogenous bases. I have red highlighted atoms and green highlighted atoms. The red hydrogens, these are what are going to form a bond with the ribose sugar. So that is where our backbone meets the nitrogenous base. Because DNA is double-stranded, we have the backbone of the sugar phosphate groups on the sides, and it's the bases that meet in the middle. Now, the bases do not physically bond to each other to keep that double strand together. They use hydrogen bonding between the bases. The green highlighted atoms in these structures are the atoms that participate in hydrogen bonding. In order to be a hydrogen bond donator, you need to have that hydrogen directly bonded to a nitrogen, specifically for nitrogenous bases, but it could also be an oxygen. To be a hydrogen bond acceptor, we have to have that lone electron pair on the nitrogen or oxygen. Therefore, adenine, the top hydrogen is going to be our hydrogen bond donator. And then the nitrogen, because it's got a lone electron pair, is going to be the hydrogen bond acceptor. Therefore, adenine makes two hydrogen bonds with its complementary base pair. Guanine has an oxygen. As we know, oxygens have those lone electron pairs, so it's going to have one hydrogen bond acceptor. And then it's going to have two hydrogen bond donators because we have two hydrogens directly bonded to that nitrogen. This means guanine will form three hydrogen bonds with its complementary base pair. The other category for our nitrogenous bases are the pyrimidines. The pyrimidine name is longer, so I remember it as a smaller molecule, just like we did the opposite with our purines. So long name, small molecule. That's one way I remember it. Another way, at least for cytosine and thymine, is they have the Y in the name, just like pyrimidine does. So that's another way in which to recognize it based off name. Uracil is the RNA version of thymine. These are also heterocyclic molecules, but they're single rings instead of the bicyclic or double rings. How I go about remembering these structures, like I'd shown before. I'm going to take my highlighter and I'm going to connect my two ends. I make a C. For that thymine, I connect my two ends and then to that methyl group to make my Texas T. In uracil, you really can't do that. So there is no Texas T. So without a Texas T, the best you can really do is it makes a U, definitely much more of a curve than that C. So again, that is how I remember the difference between my cytosine, my thymine, and my uracil. As a reminder that thymine is the base in DNA, and uracil is the base in RNA. So that is the one that will be different between those two nucleic acids. Looking at these structures, remember that the red hydrogen is what bonds to the ribose molecule. And the green atoms are what then form the hydrogen bonds with their complementary base pairs. Cytosine has 3 green atoms, which means it can form 3 hydrogen bonds. It's got 1 hydrogen bond donator and 2 hydrogen bond acceptors. This means that it can form 3 hydrogen bonds. Therefore, cytosine's complementary base pair is guanine. Looking at thymine, thymine has 1 hydrogen bond acceptor and 1 hydrogen bond donator. So it can form 2 hydrogen bonds, and its complementary base pair will then be adenine. In RNA, because uracil looks almost exactly the same as thymine, but it is just missing that methyl group next to the carbonyl, it will also have that complementary pair to the adenine. So that is what you need to be able to recognize with these base pairs. The structure, so you can determine which base pair is what, and how many hydrogen bonds it can form.